produced a finished product for the industry. Improvements in internship programs are required. The universities also have to put in their demands before the industry, right? So, and research and development divisions should be there in all the private sectors also. What happens is that most of the time universities indulge in researches which are of no use to the industry. And the private sector, some very prominent companies will have research and development divisions. Otherwise, they go in for private research companies which conduct, you know, pinpointed surveys and collect data for them and give them the inferences, which sometimes, most of the times, we also consult because they are primary data-based researches. But why cannot such consultancies be not provided to the universities? Because universities are always looking for funds. If private sector can fund those, the researches, the nature of researches, the kind of researches that are being done, research projects, etc., in the universities, if they have a different funding agency with different set of demands, that will also change. So, somehow this kind of a cohesion has to be brought about. This kind of a relationship management is required. And we have to link industry with academia. Again and again, I'm saying that integrated learning or internship, right? And big wins are rare. Institutions probably have to spin out 100 companies to get one or two that might result in a successful partnership in product. Now, why is this situation there? Why should it be that leading universities and educational institutions should be running after the industry people, the big shot companies, that they should come to them, or they should, try to fund them? Why can't that kind of a confidence be built in the minds of the private sector people, private sector personnel, that the universities are going to carry on researches in the perspective of the industry? It can be only be done through table talk, through discussing common objectives, coming out with a plan of action where both of them can be mutually benefit for each other, not only in terms of placements, not only in terms of what the universities teach, but also in terms of what the universities research. That is it. Then, inadequate teaching and learning facilities. Universities do face that kind of a crisis. If the industry demands certain kind of syllabi, certain inclusions in the syllabus, what happens is that universities may not be fully equipped. Maybe they are partially equipped, maybe they are, more than partially equipped, but they may not be fully equipped to handle those kinds of programs. But there is always a way out. There is always a way out. If I wanted to start, a software training program for my students, there is a lot of infrastructure, only it has to be used gainfully by the universities. We went in for that. Initially, there was a lot of opposition in my department also. They said that how can this happen and all, and how many trainers will be coming? Just one trainer comes. We reserve a lab for that, and we have technical assistance. It goes on through internet, and it goes on well. It has been more than 5 years since we are conducting that training, and it is with one of the leading companies in the automation of travel industry. That is the Bird Academy at Delhi. They are greatest immediate providers to India, and they have been conducting that training for us, which is not very expensive also. A part of it has to be paid by the students, and a part of it the department pays. Plus, we have all the infrastructure, the labs, and the other necessary things. And the trainer comes and stays with us. That is all free of cost. We give him a train ticket from Delhi to Aligarh, and that takes place every year. It was not all that difficult. Only then we have to come down to talking and devising ways and means, devising mechanisms as to how we can really partner and bridge this gap between industry and academia. And it works very well, believe me. A correct mix is very important. We may try to enlighten our classes, we may try to brighten up our classes by bringing in case studies, bringing in newest methods, teaching pedagogies. But what happens is when they learn something very practical, for example, if they're able to generate a ticket if they're able to generate a PNR, if they are able to, let us say, actually generate an itinerary on a concerned software, the thrill which is there, in doing that, and you can see the students that they are so happy, they feel that they've really achieved something. So that time you feel that you've been teaching for so long, you've been burning the midnight oil, you've tried your level best in your classrooms, and yet the students come and say, ma'am, thank you for this training program. Why not thank you for a class? Why thank you for this training program? It is at that point that you realize that thrill lies in doing something different. It's not that they do not enjoy their classes, but the practical learning which they get, it makes them feel armed. They feel that they have learned something, and if they go out in the industry, appear for interviews, or if they're asked to do something, they won't be lost in the initial place even, right? So that kind of a confidence has to be given to the students. That only comes through with such kind of inclusions in the syllabus, which cannot be taught on pen and paper, on blackboards and whiteboards and smart boards. It has to occur with the help of the industry. And why should we be not be happy about it? Why not include it? So these are the kinds of changes that have to be brought about. The theory part can be taught by us, the practical aspects can be taught by can be actually made to learn by the industry, and that can be a joint effort. And that is what is going to, theory पढ़ के practical उस theory को apply करेगा तो वो thrill feel करेगा. That is my submission, that इससे ज्यादा effective university कभी भी नहीं हो पाएगी जब तक अगर वो ये कर लेती है तो, and because I've seen it over the years, how students feel once you talk to them about generating itineraries, you talk to them about generating PNRs, you talk to them about finding hotels all around the world, you want them to find flight connectivity, programs, etc. And if they're able to do it, they are like on top of the world. So even they say कि मैम 2 साल की टीचिंग, 1.5 साल की टीचिंग और इस तरह का प्रोग्राम मतलब बराबर लगता है हमको, मतलब इसमें ज्यादा मजा आया. So it's not that we can let them have their way and go in for practical trainings only. No, the mind has to mature. The mind has to be mature. The mind has to be in such a place where they can't keep on generating PNRs and making tickets and making itineraries. Ultimately, they have to become managers. Ultimately, they have to rise to the levels of CEO and such positions, covetous positions. And their mind, their talent, their whole individuality has to be trained in such a way. So, but what happens is with these little kind of delights in between, these kind of chocolates in between, even their interest persists, and they feel that they have really learned something. Processes that facilitate learning, content that is relevant to the acquisition of knowledge and skills, and outcomes that include all knowledge, skills, and attitudes. That is very important. And that is why I say that it has to be a mix of theory and practical. Strategies for developing and maintaining effective academia-industry relationships. Setting relevant prerequisites for acceptance into training programs across the tourism education system. We have to sit with an open mind, listen to the needs of the industry, put forward our own points, our own objectives, and come out with a common plan. This is for the sake of existence of both academia and industry. This is for the sake of betterment of our students. Then, there are some students who are crafted for research. There are some students who are crafted for, let us say, off the desk activities. What do? You push them into a system which cannot retain them at all, but they have to be there. Why not come out with strategies? Why not come out with, systems that give each student a chance to discover his own self, his or her own self, and opt for the same? Now, sometime back when we were reorganizing a syllabus, a teacher asked me, ma'am, why have you put a choice between, research methodology in tourism and business tourism. So I told her just one thing, that RM should be studied, research methodology should be studied by people who are seriously interested into academics. They want to pursue academics in future. And those who want to go to the industry must learn about business tourism, MICE, and event management things. Moreover, the contents of business tourism are not so heavy that a person who is has opted for research methodology cannot, read and learn about business tourism. So this is a very obvious, a very practical choice that I have given to the students, and they understood all of a sudden, and they say that, ma'am, it's good. Why impose research methodology on everyone, or why impose any paper on anyone? But then it made them clear that if I have to go into academics, or whether I have to go into academics, or I intend to go out for a job in the industry. There are some people who are trained, who are who are just too sure that they want to pursue a PhD and come into academics. They can seriously learn methodology from the very beginning. Why waste a paper on learning a methodology which you really can't use in future? So such type of inclusions always help the students. And then proper counseling is also required, that why have you done such a thing? The development of national standard curricula, I have talked to you about it, which is like the need of the time. Then there is also a need to develop an accreditation system for tourism programs to bring about some consistency. We few minutes pehle, I was talking to you about a national standard curriculum which can be certified by the ministry for each degree, diploma, master's program, undergraduate program, etc. The same way over here, that they have to be, accredited to bring about some consistency. If they are accredited, will have to follow what the accreditation requires. Industry can collaborate in collaboration with academia through train the trainer programs, course curriculum review, internship for students, technology updates, support in establishing laboratories and research projects. This I have already talked to you about, that they have to have, and technology updates are the major requisites from the industry, I think. They are the best persons to advise us about the kind of technological updates that a particular course or a particular, discipline requires. Academia is full of ideas. Industry people are so busy working, that they fail to produce new ideas. And we have to learn from the US companies, where whenever the companies need new kind of ideas, they always, resort to the academicians. I still remember, when I had gone to Hong Kong, and there was this PolyU business, hotel and business tourism school. Then Nestle and all such big companies, they give their, lab programs to these kinds of hotel schools, where they try and test coffee beans, try to make it in different ways, and then they come out with, a plan that this is going to be the way the coffee beans are going to be used, or they can be turned into chocolates. This time I still remember that when I had gone into the conference, and the people that had come with their husbands and wives, and they were free, they did not want to participate in the conference. The school, the hotel school and tourism school had arranged, chocolate and wine workshops for them, cheese making workshops for them, and there they involve them in such activities, right? So why, see, the industry resorts to the academics to give them the correct way, कि ये कॉफी ऐसे बनेगी, राइट? इसको हम कैसे यूज करेंगे कि इसका टेस्ट बेस्ट निकलेगा, राइट? सो दे रिजॉर्टेड टू द इंडस्ट्री फॉर दिस, एंड दैट इज हाउ the two will always supplement and complement each other. See, we know what is there, what does the industry expect: an operational approach, solutions for concerns, develop skilled manpower, and market aligned courses. And see, ये हमने आपसे पीछे भी डिस्कस किया था, what they expect from each other. Consider students and industry as partners in education, and then we have to tangibilize the intangibles जो अभी तक हम देखते हैं. कि ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो जाता है, उस चीज को सॉलिड तरीके से करने का वक्त आ गया है. And we have to show, I have written over here that we have to show our gratitude to the industry, but both the sides have to show gratitude to each other. Then seek endorsement from significant brands or personalities. Involve your students in co-creation of values. Develop a team to share the same and goals, vision and goals. Right. So what happens is that, for example, I was giving this example to you about the hotel school in Hong Kong, where big companies like Nestle would come to them and say कि हमें इसका तरीका बताइए कि इसकी चॉकलेट कैसे बनाएं और इस कॉफी बीन को कैसे इस्तेमाल करें. So, and when they develop it, it can be done by a significant brand. Personalities, brand ambassadors can be brought to it, and those brand ambassadors could be that particular university or institution in itself, right? So they can be brand ambassadors of that also. They can become a worldwide name also. Any institution or any particular, academician. Now, how do we cleanse the education system? Now, most of the times we find that, now the trend has changed. Most of the universities have different departments and teachers for tourism. But when tourism education started, it was like people were running the courses from borrowed faculty. If there's a paper on geography, somebody from geography department would come and take that paper. If there's a paper on environment and ecology, person concerned from there will come and take a paper. But then so many different perspectives. Each paper is being taught by a specialist, no doubt. But what happens to the perspective of tourism in that? That was lost and forgotten. And that totally disoriented the student, that what have they come to learn? So there were a lot of inconsistencies in such an education system. And had industry been involved from the very beginning, they could have pointed out this, and this problem could have been arrested. And then, as I told you, that we have to come out with new methods of teaching, new pedagogies of teaching. It could be in the workshop mode, it could be in the seminar mode, it could be in role play, it could be case study, it could be quiz, it could be audio video, visual aids, it could be through movies, it could be through anything. A lot of time we work under the pressure that we have to go on with lecturing. Most of the times we are working under the pressure that if we do a lot of out of classroom activities, people will start pointing fingers at us that यहाँ तो पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है, and people are just playing around and enjoying life. But a lot of transmission of knowledge occurs at times when you are outside the classroom. I mean, this is an observation, and many books and many articles corroborate that. So we have to keep the ultimate goal of learning in mind rather than the mode of learning. It could be left to the teacher. The teachers are highly, influenced by such things that we have to be inside the classroom. Learning can occur anywhere. The teachers have to be given more freedom to rely upon methods of teaching. And only then, it can be made interesting for the teacher and the student both. Training and practical know-how is practically negligible among students on account of costly practical labs and field visits. Although most of the courses have become very expensive now, and they do contain field trips and field visits, etc., labs, etc. So I cannot really say that if you take around a look at, leave alone the private institutions, they are highly equipped. But if you just travel to state universities and central universities, you see that a lot of development has taken place. People do have the infrastructure, right? But there's always a way out also if there is not enough infrastructure, because the amount of fee that is charged is very little in central and state universities. So for such kind of programs, if the students agree, then a little extra can be charged for that particular component, for that particular module, which has to be in association with the industry, and that can be made a reality. So way outs have to be found. Then it's very good to have visiting professors. What happens is change of faces also does a lot of work. If I keep on doing the same thing every day with the same lot of people, it is going to become so monotonous that there actually no communication takes place. I may be speaking, they may be listening, but actually there is no communication that is taking place. People are busy thinking about something else, and I'm just going on in a monotonous tone, which I speak every day. So what is the use of such things? There's no use. So it's good to have, visiting professors, adjunct faculties, people from the industry, people from the relevant walks of life coming and talking to the students. So what I intend to say that let's not stick to the age old notion that a teacher carries her attendance register and two books in her hand and goes to the class, takes attendance, starts the book, and just goes on speaking what the syllabus content has to be delivered. Why be bound by such things? There are rules and regulations, we have to obey them, but then our classroom is our area, it's our world. We can make it as creative as possible. Nobody's going to stop us if we are going to conduct quiz. Nobody's going to stop us if we are going to conduct role plays. Nobody's going to do that. But our problem is that children are assessed, marks जिस पे मिलते हैं students वही activities करते हैं. So the next thing which I want to point out is that if you want to make those curriculum effective, make them assessed components. They should get marks on it. If you make them work for each 5 mark, each 2 mark, the personality of those students will be very different from the way the students that are being judged on the basis of a test or an examination paper they have turned out. They're going to be very different. Let it be a continuous assessment plan. They should be judged of their punctuality, of the way they dress up, of their class participation, of their participation in co-curricular activities, of their participation in extracurricular activities. Oh, we are bound by university rules and regulations, UGC regulations, but then trying for it works. We can always send in demands to the respective offices that our course demands such things. You may know about your courses, I know about my course. Professional attitude has to be developed in students. That's very important. चाहे वो scientists हो, doctors हो, engineers हो, management graduates हो, कोई भी हो, literature graduates हो, a professional attitude has to be there. A good approach to tourism management training is one that combines the three elements of academic abilities, personal development, and practical skills. Extracurricular activities should be encouraged. For example, music festivals, carnivals, fates, etc. Right? Organization of events, really polishes up students. I have seen how their creative side and their organizational side, their management side comes to the forefront. You can jolly well make out that these are the students who can be given very serious responsibilities. These are the students who can be entrusted with outside jobs. These are students who can be made to sit on a computer and they can work for the whole day long. They are very skilled at writing, some are skilled at organizing, some are skilled at just running around, right? So this is the way you judge students when you are putting them into action, when if there is any academic event in the department, or if there is anything that needs an event of large status, of big status occurs. So educational institutions have to be very lively and dynamic. They don't have to be static with the mundane activities are going on in the institutions every day, teaching and exams, tests, etc. No, there's much more to that. There's much more than that. And because when we produce children who are good at organizing, who are good at let us say organizing, management, marketing, communicating, writing, and such events, we are preparing them for the future also. For example, if you organize a big conference, so many delegates come, the students are attending to them, they are taking care of them, they are preparing in months in advance for such events. The way their personalities are carved out are very different from the students who do not participate in such academic, co-curricular or extracurricular events. And these are the ones who become successful in the industry also. And rather than it's like we are pressurized by publish or perish syndrome, that we are forever under the dagger of publishing, otherwise our um, credibility is questioned. It's true, but then we have to divide our time. Most of the times what happens in universities is that teachers become more dedicated to researches rather than teaching. But we are primarily teachers. All right, there are no marks on teaching. All right, there is no medals given to you when you teach well. But then that is our basic job, and that is what we will be remembered for, right? And good research, of course, is extremely important. It's required. We should indulge in that, but then we have to again bring out a correct mix. So first of all, the faculties, the universities, and the stakeholders have to decide what is the correct mix of their own existence, as a person, as a teacher, as an academician, as an industry personnel, then contribute towards larger causes, and guide the students, guide the industry, take help from the industry, and come out with instruction plans, come out with curriculum designs that can be very suitable for all the stakeholders. And that could be a win-win situation for both the parties, for all the parties, where everybody will be happy and they will enjoy a competitive advantage. Myopic outlook will not bring in expected rewards. The root causes have to be identified, and a lot of manpower development of efforts have to take place. And then there is no replacement of the educator industry partnership, and that is how we're going to maintain our courses. There is no doubt about that. That's the end of it. If any questions, please go ahead. Pawan? Hello, Pawan?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any questions?
Any question, participants, from your side? I think they have no question, ma'am, for this session.
Tired, tired, right?
Not that much, but I
Okay.
can see the
Thank you.
feedback from the participant in the chat box. Even you can see they have enjoyed this session a
I'm trying
lot.
to see them. I'm
So
so sorry about the technical glitch that occurred, but I think these are part of problems. The important thing is that we were
that is
together
not in your hand as well,
and we
I can
found a way
see.
out. Hmm. So thank you very much, Bhagat Singh Mahila
Uh,
Vishwavidyalaya, for inviting me, as you always do. It's a pleasure to be there with you people. My due regards to all the organizers, and thanks to all the participants for their patient listening. And you can have my email ID and other contact details. If I can be useful in any way to all of you, I would be more than happy. And stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and take care of yourselves. And don't forget to travel once it is permitted. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am, Professor Shiba
Thank
Hamid,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Before we conclude here, I would like to introduce you amongst our participant. देर आए बट दुरुस्त आए. मैं अपनी गुस्ताखी को सुधारना चाहता हूँ. टेक्निकल इश्यूज थे कुछ.
नहीं नहीं
आपका हम एक
जी.
बार yes, Professor Shiba Hamid is professor in tourism department at Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. She has teaching experience of more than 20 years. She has authored 5 books and published more than 35 papers. She has organized numbers of conferences, workshops, training programs, and handled delegations. She is associated with a number of universities in various academic assignments. She is a regular resource person at various national and international conferences. She is a skilled academic event manager also. She has prepared study material for open universities and distance education center in India. She has delivered more than 60 invited talks in various universities and human resource development centers of University Grant Commission across India. She is a member of several editorial boards of journals, research committees, selection committees, board of studies. She is also a member of NEC committee of Aligarh Muslim University. She is also on conference advisory committee of various academic institutions. She has also conducted Aligarh Muslim University entrance text examination for the engineering and engineering program. at outside centers Lucknow and Srinagar. As a member and a team leader, she is also training and placement officer of MTTTM, Aligarh Muslim University. She is also a counselor of tourism program at Indira Gandhi National Open University. Apart from academics, she is also active in university administration. She has been assistant dean student welfare, nodal officer UGC online grievance redress portal. Presently, she is provost of Indira Gandhi Hall of Girls at Aligarh Muslim University, responsible for residential arrangement of 600 girls. She is also joint secretary at National Executive Committee of Indian Tourism and Hospitality Congress. She has award and honors to her credit too. So that's about you, ma'am. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time. We are very much fortunate,
It was a
to
pleasure.
have you us have fortunate to have you us with us. So thank you once again for enlightening
Thank you
us
so much.
with this wonderful session and informative session, ma'am. Thank you so much. Khushamadid.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this is the time for lunch break. We will be rejoining at 2 o'clock and on Google Meet. And really sorry for these technical hitches, which is not in my hand or neither in your hand. So we will be
Pawanji, this showed the teacher's adaptability. We can
yes, ma'am.
switch from it. We are multitasking, we are adaptive, everything about us. This is
And
our
ma'am,
story.
और जो
Thank you,
आज
sir.
का ये मैनेजमेंट रहा ये हम पे टाइटल भी सूट
Thank you.
करता है बिकॉज दिस रिफ्रेशर कोर्स इज ऑन इकोनॉमिक्स कॉमर्स एंड मैनेजमेंट सो ये
Yes,
आज का
sir.
एक लेसन था कि उस सेशन में हम कैसे मैनेज करना है ऑन द स्पॉट आपदा ही थी हमारे लिए तो हम ये कह सकते हैं आज डिजास्टर था
बढ़िया
छोटा
हुआ.
सा जी
It was interesting
नहीं, बहुत
despite
अच्छे से
the
पवन जी आपने मैनेज किया.
जी शुक्रिया डॉक्टर विजय सिंह और
हाँ, thank
मॉर्निंग
you जी.
सेशन के
देखो,
लिए मैं वही रिपीट करूंगा कि अटेंडेंस जो लिंक था शेयर कर दिया गया था
हाँ
कुछ
जी
लोग जो
सर.
हमें नहीं ज्वाइन कर पाए उनकी जो अटेंडेंस है वो यूट्यूब के लाइव लिंक पे कमेंट बॉक्स में उन्होंने अपने नाम टाइप किए हैं जिससे वहां से उनका अटेंडेंस ले ली जाएगी राइट सो
सर कोई कॉन्टिन्यूअसली टॉक कर रहा है उनको प्लीज रिमाइंड कर दीजिए जैसे लग रहा है ट्रेन में जा रहे हैं या खेती में खड़े हैं सम पिक्यूलियर साउंड इज कमिंग काइंडली उनको बोल दीजिए इट इज वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग
जी जी डेफिनेटली मैम so without wasting much time we will move for the lunch break it's 1:31 and we will be rejoin at 2 o'clock on Google Meet enjoy your meals thank you
okay, thank you पवन जी. Thank you.